Okay, so the 7 principles of conversion-centered design. Um, let's skip on here. Okay, they're broken down into 2 areas: design and psychology. The design rules are based on some fundamental principles of visual design, and the psychology elements are used to trigger positive conversion responses in people, mind control, and stuff like that. For the design rules, I'm going to use photography to explain the concepts so you can understand them from a fundamental level. It kind of helps you understand the basis behind why you're making these design decisions. So let's go to the first one, which is encapsulation.
Oh, and you know what? I do want to interject one more time because Ollie is going to be far too humble to tell you this. But all the photos here are actually photos that he has taken. So he is not only a conversion hero; he is a He's my photography hero. These are awesome photos.
Okay, you can't see me blushing here, but
He's beat red now. He's super embarrassed because I told him I wouldn't say that.
okay. So this first example, the idea is to draw attention to one element by enclosing it with a bounded area. Here you can see how the river makes your eyes stay within the dark circle. And no matter where your eyes stray, they always come back to the center. So you can see it just kind of holds your attention into the middle of the screen. So this is where you want to put the most important element of your page. Second one is contrast and color. Again, your eyes are drawn to the middle of the photo due to the stark contrast created by the vibrant color. I knocked the surrounding area back to black and white just to emphasize the effect. Um, this is kind of, if you have a page with one main kind of color hue, like say it's generally blue or green or something, you want to make your most important element, which is your call to action, very opposing in terms of its contrast, so that it's the thing that stands out really boldly from the rest of your page, kind of like it does in this example here. Again, you can't really take your eyes off it, so it's designed to focus your attention on the most important part of the page. Next up, we have directional cues. Again, these are used to draw your eye into a focal point. Here, there's a pathway. You can use arrows as well. That's more common on your page. But here, there's a pathway here, which takes your eyes up to this point here. So again, this is where you'd place your CTA. So people are kind of you're leading people to where the important part of the page is. Another example of this, look at this monkey here. He's staring down, so your natural instinct is to look at him and then follow his gaze. So as you can see, this is where you'd put your CTA there, because we're kind of, well, we're naturally trained to follow where people are looking, or animals. Um, you can see it again here. This is a classic study using a heat map, which tells you where people are looking or clicking on the page. Here you can see, because of the direct eye contact of the baby, your eyes are locked into the gaze of the baby. On the second example on the right, you'll see that your first attention is here, but then you follow the gaze and you start looking at the content. You'll see the red dots over on this side. They're the areas of most interest. So you can see that all your attention is being directed after the first view to your important information. And you'll see down here, this is where your CTA would probably be, because there's a natural flow of line of sight that comes down here.
Now, we do have a question. Someone was asking how they can get a heat map. Like, how can they have a page like this done for
Okay,
them?
there are two kind of methods. There's the eye tracking, but that's really expensive. Yeah, you usually have to have some contraption in your eye or around it, which is a little bit invasive. The more accessible version is a click map, which is kind of more appropriate for the web. And tools like Crazy Egg allow you to see where people are clicking on the page. It'll produce the same kind of heat map if everybody's kind of, it's where they click, but it's also where their mouse is kind of is moving. So you'll see here, people will tend to put their mouse where they're looking. So they'll do this and then they'll follow this around. So you'll get a sense of where people are paying attention and also where they're clicking. Okay, so the last design principle is white space, um, or more appropriately is blank space, because it can be any color really. It can be white, it can be black. Um, The concept is to seek that it seeks to use blank areas that contain nothing to draw your eyes to an area of something. In this one, you see how the white space allows your eyes to relax because there's no visual clutter, and it focuses on the subject down here because it's the only real thing for you to put your attention on. Here's an example. If you look at this landing page on the left, it's kind of I imagine it'll make your eyes bleed after a while. It's so scattered. There's no way for your eyes to relax, and there's nothing to focus on. It's got a massive amount of links, and there's no flow for you to kind of let your eyes follow any hierarchy of information. Contrast that with the example here, um, where your attention is on the top, and then it's easy for you to look down. Everything's nicely spaced, and it just lets your eyes flow down to the important information, and then back up to the top because the hierarchy is well defined. It's bigger here, smaller information down the bottom. So you tend naturally to move back up to this area. And yes, that's an Unbounce template on the right. Okay, so now we're going to talk psychology. This is the mind control section. Urgency and scarcity. This is where you get into limited time offers or limited quantities. So it's about time, or it's about the number of things that are left. The idea here is you get people to convert because they're afraid of missing out on your limited time offer, or they're scared that things will run out, they'll be sold off the shelves. If you're thinking of a real world example. Now, some good examples of this. Let's look at Expedia. If you look down here, they only have 3 tickets left at this price, so you're encouraged to buy a flight right away. This is a perfect example of scarcity because people usually have tight restrictions on their travel plans and dates. So if you see this, you're going to want to buy this as soon as possible, which means you're much less likely to wander off and check out the competition. So this is a really good psychological device here. Now for urgency, we're going to look at Amazon. They have an order by date to guarantee your delivery. They started this off around Christmas to guarantee delivery before Christmas if you do book it by a certain date, which is a really smart idea because nobody wants crying kids on Christmas if their toys don't show up. Or to Catcher in the Rye if you're buying them a really advanced book for your 4-year-old.
They also might cry. Actually, on the topic of urgency and scarcity, I've noticed Amazon actually does both on a lot of their pages now. So for scarcity, just below this, they may also say only 2 left in stock, order now, more on the way. And then they also have urgency. So they do a really good job of both.
Yeah, and what they did for Christmas, they soon realized that they could do every day of the year because collectively there's a birthday on every day for somebody. So they've extended this. So every day of the year they have this kind of statement, which means they have a lot of urgency going on. Here's another example of urgency. If you're ever buying tickets from Ticketmaster and complaining about their fees, but if you're using them, you'll see down in the corner here, you only have 4 minutes to buy your tickets, and everyone knows that things sell out really quickly. So you only have a small window of time, and if you miss this, of course, you're going to lose your seats, and then you're going to get something worse. So this is a really powerful way to get people to buy something now. And, all right, so this is something we talked about at the beginning. It's called try before you buy. So an example here is let your prospects eat a grape. We've all done it, snuck in a little grape taste test before deciding whether you're going to buy them. So basically stealing grapes. It's kind of become an internationally accepted form of thievery. Without this preview, you're less likely to buy them. You might pinch them a little bit, or but you don't really get to sample them. This photo here is a perfect example. She's really smart in that she's actually set up a sampling tray here. Obviously, very confident about the quality of what she's selling. If you don't have a sample, then people might be a little reticent to convert because maybe they'll think your content's not very high level. If you have a preview, it lets people know that you're confident, your quality is going to be good, and they actually get to look at a sample of it. So yeah, like I said earlier, there are a couple of methods of doing this: a PDF snapshot, or a slideshare presentation, or a 30-second preview of a song or anything like that. And again, back to Amazon, they have this. They kind of invented the best kind of preview method. It's the look inside. Oh, Great Gatsby. That's nice and timely with the movie coming out.
Yeah, well done.
Totally accidental. Um, so you can look inside this and see the first kind of section or something, which helps you figure out whether you want to buy it or not. So that's a smart way of doing things.
And I mean, all in all, aside from obviously the number of leaks on the page, because an Amazon page has a ton of leaks, but it seems like their sales pages are, you know, well, obviously meant to be super high converting. They are a brilliant business. They do an awesome job.
Yeah, that's why I keep using their examples, really. Okay, next one. Everybody's heard of social proof. There's a couple of standard examples on the next page, but this is all about the psychology of Me Too. Um, I'll just define it quickly. Social proof is created by the statistics and actions of a particular crowd. It can enhance this Me Too factor. The major benefit is a level of kind of authentic believability. Again, going back to Amazon, you probably all seen when you buy a book, they have a recommendation engine that says people that bought this book, the one you just bought yourself, also bought this. So it kind of encourages people to follow along and buy more of the related content. So here's a really interesting example of a case study. This was done in 1969 in New York City. The concept was to have a man staring into the sky on the sidewalk to see how many people would stop and join in what he's doing. Um, so they started with one person, and then they went to 5 people. I mean, there's more than that in this photo, but Google Images failed me here. So that you can see that in this case for social proof, it's kind of the opposite of the landing page concept of one page, one goal. Here it's about the power of the crowd. So you can see here with one person, only 20% of people actually stopped and joined in. And then in the case of 5 people, pretty much everybody stopped and joined in. It's kind of the concept of the bigger the crowd gets.